Today on Questions, it's the question as old as time. Why do bad things happen to good people? Hey everybody, welcome to Questions. This is episode 4. For those of you who don't know what this is, me and my wife are answering questions asked by you over on our Instagram at Fellowship Cooperative or here on YouTube on my personal page at Brennan Johnson. We are answering any and all questions to do with faith, religion, spirituality, depth, meaning, life, philosophy, what have you. You have questions, we have unsatisfying answers. The question for today is, what's the point of prayer if bad people can live forever and good people can die young? But so to answer this, I think first and foremost we need to kind of go back to what was said maybe in one of the previous episodes. I think it was episode 2, in talking about what is the point of prayer. Is prayer about getting whatever we want, or about having sort of a relationship with the higher power, the divine, God, whatever terminology, whatever language you need to use to define the spark, the engine, the thing driving this whole universe forward? So I believe that prayer is more than just asking for things we want. Prayer is about meditation and about conversation, than it could ever be about just wanting what we want. I think it matters how we think about the divine as well, because do we want to believe in a God, a supernatural being, a higher power? Do we want to believe in something that is actually a being with emotions and feelings and desires, or do we want a genie? Do we want to worship a genie, and we'll worship that genie as long as that genie does exactly what we want it to? And if God is a genie, who does that God answer to? Because all of us at some point or another ask God for things, and a lot of the times our desires might run into conflict. God can't say yes to everyone. What happens if there's two competing people praying for the same thing and they can't go to both of them? Two people looking for a job and it's the same job and they're both praying that they get it. God can't give it to both of them. So someone has to be told no. But beyond that, I think it's really easy to ask, why does it seem like, even with all of that being true, that still God doesn't answer any prayers? Or that if you are bad, if you do wrong things, you are rewarded for it, and if you try to be a good person, you're punished for it. And I think that is an easy thing to look out into the world and see and to ask yourself. That not only does it seem like, oh, well, of course God has to answer some people's prayers and not others, but it goes beyond that, and it seems like no one is getting their prayers answered, and just the rich get richer, the bad get rewarded, and the good suffer. And my personal belief to that is, again, I think something I've said before, but I believe we have free will. I believe we live in a world that is broken. I think we live in a world that is faulty. I think we live in a world, in a society that values things that hurt others to bring others gain. If money buys me things and things keep me comfortable or satisfied or safe or healthy or extend my life or gives me things for entertainment, then logically I want as much money as possible. So if I want as much money as possible, I should seek to get ahead in business. But to get ahead in business oftentimes means selling the most amount of products for the most amount of money, but making sure those products cost me the least. So we live in a world where screwing over somebody is profitable. Using slaves to make our clothes, our coffee, undermining the rights of workers in factories or any work setting across the world, paying non-livable wages for fast food or service industry. All of that makes someone money so they can get that product out as cheaply as possible while charging the most they think they can get out of it, so that the person at the top can have the most money, so they can have the most things, the most comfort, the most safety, the most entertainment, the most joy, whatever you want to say, call it. So logically, screwing over people, hurting people is beneficial. It helps make life and living in this world better. So why do bad people seem to be rewarded? Because this world is set up in a way that rewards bad people. It doesn't make sense for me to give some of my money away to the poor. It doesn't make sense for me to give some of my time in soup kitchens, dishing out food. It doesn't make sense. Charity doesn't make sense. Justice doesn't make sense if we're just going by a physical, on-the-surface way of living this life. Saying screw you to everyone else and only living for myself is the most logical thing we can do. So of course, the bad people in this world are rewarded and good people suffer. This world sucks. As my mom used to say when we were kids, life sucks and then you die. She was a really supportive mom. So there is something deeper in this world. There are strings, there are connections, there is meaning that is inherent because all people, on some level, at some point, feel it. There are systems in this world that call on us to care for one another, and I'm not going to pretend that it's just God. I believe it is God calling to each and every one of us, but there is inherent value, there is inherent meaning, there is an inherent purpose, there is inherent depth to this world that everyone from any religion to the most staunch atheist believes this world has. Christians don't have a copyright on morals. Everyone has a set of morals. Everyone lives into some regard for something bigger than themselves, even if the most height of that is humanity itself. We still care for one another to some extent. So I believe the purpose of this world, the purpose of living in this world, is how we react to the situations we are dealt with, how we react to the life we are dealt. You know, there are people in this world that when bad things happen to them, they choose to react badly. You know, they are hurt, so they choose to hurt others. There are people who have bad things happen to them and it makes them kind and it makes them never want another bad thing to happen because they know what it feels like. They take that badness and they turn it into good. There are people that when good things happen to them, they think they deserve good things nonstop. And so they take that goodness and they don't spread the goodness, they hoard it and they do something bad with that goodness. There are people who when they get goodness, they see how much it affects them and how good it is, and they want to spread that goodness to others. All of that to say that we can react to the good things of this life or the bad things of this life in a good way or a bad way. Nothing is guaranteed. So it matters what happens to us and it matters how we react. Are we going to chase after good things and put more good things in this world? Or are we going to chase after bad things and put more bad things in this world? But I think it is hard, then, to not become spoiled if we only have good. If God is a genie, then I fear, I can't think of a better way to explain this than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I apologize, it's so childish, but sometimes children's stories get it. In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we have, 4 kids? Yeah, we have 4 kids who have gotten everything they've ever wanted their entire lives. If we take away their parents and insert God into that thing, every time they've ever prayed, every time they've ever asked for anything, God has given it to them. They have gotten every single thing they've ever wanted their entire lives. And they are awful for it. They are spoiled, they are rotten, they don't give a crap about anyone else. They're terrible. Then we have Charlie. And Charlie has gotten nothing. If we add God into the mix, God has not answered a single one of Charlie's prayers. Charlie lives in a shack with like 7 other people. All they eat is cabbage stew. It's got a stink. It's cold. There's no central heating. There's no insulation. His life sucks. But he understands how good things are. So when they get to the chocolate factory, and let's call the chocolate factory heaven or the new kingdom or paradise, whatever. When they get the chance to walk through the gates of the greatest place on earth, the spoiled kids don't give a crap about it. It's just another thing they can get. To Charlie, he fully understands the goodness of it, the importance of it. He values what he has been given, and because of it, he gets the keys to the kingdom. This heavy-handed metaphor is that sometimes God says no. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Sometimes our prayers aren't answered because they just have to not be answered. And that sucks. That's terrible. And when that situation leads to heartbreak or the loss of a loved one, or you lose your job, your marriage is crumbling, this is a cheap answer. I don't think there is a satisfactory answer anywhere when our lives are falling apart and we're screaming to God to do something. If I want to say that it's the chaos of the world and it's just society working out the way society works out, and the value is that we have to choose how we react to the situation, or if it's God ordaining something and putting it into our lives, and because there's some grander purpose for this terrible heartbreak we're going through. Both of those answers don't satisfy why this awful situation is happening to us. And I'm not going to pretend it does. Things like this, be it philosophy, theology, whatever, this mental exercise is a privilege for those who have privilege. All right, I'm not starving. I'm not worried about my job. I'm not worried about ending up on the street. I don't have a loved one in mortal danger. I'm comfortable. So I can shoot the breeze on why bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. But if you're someone who's in it right now, you're in the depths of the valley, there is just darkness and pain is everything around you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that words like this aren't comforting. I'm sorry that there isn't comfort that I can give from here, except to say that I'm sorry. I love you, and I'm here for you. Even if you don't think anyone else is, reach out. I know that sounds easy to say when there's a screen separating us, but I don't care who you are. Reach out if you need to. Because at the end of the day, why do bad things happen to good people? Good things happen to bad people? Who knows? Who cares? What really matters is when we're going through it, are there people next to us? Are there people around us who are going to get us through it? And if you're watching this and you're thinking, no, there's not, nope, that's not true. Because I'm here. And you can always reach out. And I'm sure, even if it might not seem like it, there's people who love you. There's people who cherish you. There's people who value you. So reach out. Well, I think that is all I have. We'll see if I even post this one. This feels like a mess and not great, but yeah. You can always be asking us more questions on comments, or reach out on Instagram or YouTube or however you are seeing this. You can always be asking more questions. Grace and peace. Cheers.